Welcome to Beyond Film School, where I teach you all about the film industry. I'm Amber, and in this video, we are getting into the challenges of being a script supervisor. You want to know the script supervisor world, and I am here to give it to you, the amazing and, of course, the frustrating and the challenging aspects of it.
Well, I don't know if I'm emotionally ready.
Being able to interview these professional script supervisors was definitely eye-opening for me as an AD, as an assistant director, and looking back on how I work with script supervisors on set. They came from the indie world and big budget union sets. They're here to keep it real, and they're gonna be definitely honest about the frustrations that they experience as a script supervisor. So what are the challenges of being a script supervisor?
You have a lot of bosses. That's a really tough one.
The hardest thing about it is your department of one.
Most frustrating is the lack of communication when people don't tell me what's happening.
So you're often the bearer of bad news to certain departments, especially the AD department, sometimes the camera department.
It feels like a lot of my job is just telling people you're wrong. It's really like you're just coming up to them and being like, you have to do it this way again, or like you didn't do it the same way, so you're wrong. You know, so it can be abrasive. So it's like, I think a key to doing the job well is to like be friendly and affable and like, you know, just be friends with everybody. So you're not being like, you have to do this again. It's more like, hey buddy.
Communicating and conveying your notes to the right people at the right time can often pose as an issue, even though that's like a huge part of the job. It's like if somebody doesn't want to talk to you or hear you and they're dead focused on getting the day done, and you have to come up and be like, hi, like they did the same thing in the first 4 takes and then we did something completely different in the 5th take and that's what she liked. Now we have to change a few things instead of just kind of moving right into the single or moving right into the turnaround. I have to be like, hey, like which one do you want? Do you need another wide, or do you want to just stick with that thing that we changed at the end and we have to match that now for every other thing going forward? So it's learning how to be delicate and how to do your job and make sure that you're covered and that you're communicating the issues in a timely manner, but also, you know, often breaking a lot of bad news to people and being like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to do that again. Yeah.
The lack of communication is a problem, and this often doesn't come from like a place of malice or anything. It's not like people are keeping me out of the loop on purpose. It's that people don't really know what I'm there for. So they don't know how much information I need or I would like to have. And then that becomes a problem. So many of the things that I worked on in the beginning of my career, I would be brought on like the day before shooting.
Wow.
No prep.
Wow.
And so, sure, I can still kind of do my job, but I can't do it nearly as well as I would have been able to do if I got the script like 3 weeks beforehand, and if I was looped in on the production meetings and all the other stuff leading up to it. There's a feature, low budget feature that I worked on it was a wonderful crew, and it was a great environment, and everybody was super nice. It was super fun to shoot, but I got brought on the night before. And so, like, it was intense, because the first day we're shooting, like, this stunt, and I'm like, okay, there's this stunt happening. I haven't read the script. I don't know what happens before this. And, like, I don't know whether or not this character, like, has their socks on, has their shoes on or not. Like, I don't know any of this. And the other departments were also pretty understaffed as well, so they didn't have that much capability to, like, prep. So that was kind of frustrating, and you know, and slowly I would start prepping the movie while I was shooting the movie, which is just insane. And so because of that, like, there were some discrepancies in the beginning of the shoot because I was just, like, a little confused and not sure what's happening. So yeah, not enough prep is, like, a huge thing for me. Not being you know, involved in production meetings. Like, sure, you'll think, like, why does the script supervisor need to be there? Like, it's not like they bring in, and, you know, they just have to show up on set and write things down. You might think that. But the thing is, sure, we show up to set and write things down, but what do we write down? Like, what is important? We don't know what is important until we're, like, part of a production meeting and we know, like, what's a hero prop, or, like, what matters later in the story, you know, or what do we have little of that we can't do a lot of takes of. Also, another thing with communication is when I'm on set, and then the director and the DP and the first AD just go to set, or like go start scoping out stuff and set up shots, like start talking about shots, and they don't get me involved. I usually try to like keep an eye out on that and try to make sure that I see them and you know, but I don't want to do that all the time, you know. I might be prepping for the day and then suddenly like the DP and the director are gone and they're talking about the plan for the day and they're not involving me. And that is something that I really benefit from, knowing what coverage we're getting, especially if there isn't like a clear storyboard or a shot list. Because if I know what coverage there is, then I know what to focus on, right? I know what is important, what are we looking at, what should I actually pay attention to? Because again, like I can't be paying attention to the 500 things that are happening, but if I know how to prioritize, then I can do my job so much better. Like if I know that we're going to get coverage on her shirt, then I'll make sure that her shirt stays exactly the same way for each take. Right? So it's stuff like that I would find really helpful, and very often people forget to kind of get us involved in, and that frustrates me a lot.
It's actually a very important thing for a script supervisor and an AD to talk, communicate, and get along.
100%, yeah.
I think one of the things that I always say is if your script supervisor and your first AD are getting along and talking right, everyone's going to have a shorter day.
Facts.
By far, because you're talking and you can suggest to them and they can suggest to you things, and you can talk through it and make plans, and if everyone's on the same page and you have a plan, it's going to work.
You don't have anyone to cover you. So sometimes if you're not good at managing your time, you have to manage your time in that, like, hey, we're going to be out on this process trailer. I'm not going to get to go to the bathroom for 3 hours. You know? You got to plan that stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, logistics, it's the logistics of it, of being the department of one, I think is the hardest part.
If a movie is going to be using more than 3 cameras and the script supervisors are an army of one, basically, bringing on another script supervisor, like where do you fall in that argument?
I've done it. I've went and worked. I worked on oh gosh, which one was it? One of the Spider-Mans, and I was there because we had 10 cameras.
Wow.
So she took the first 5, and I took the second 5. And if you think it's not possible to watch 5 cameras at once, this is true. It isn't. And so I walk around, talk to my camera operators, say, what's your shot going for? Get the information so that I know when to look at their camera to see if they got that part that they're trying to get. We should have multiple people.
Well, I don't know about more script supervisors on set. That's hard.
Right.
We do have a very, very solo job because it does take, you have to put everything together in your brain. I know some script supervisors in other places, Canada, for example, they do have an assistant position. I'm still unclear exactly everything that position does because it's not a thing in the United States, really.
I talked to an LA script supervisor, and that is slightly being tackled in LA. Like they're like, sometimes they do it, and I have heard about it. So I was like mind blown when she brought this up. I was like, assistant script supervisor? This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is something. I could use help sometimes. Right. Like another hand, or someone to go get me a coffee or something like that. You know, or even just someone to step in for 5 minutes while I run to a restroom. I mean, I don't get to do that really.
Right.
So that would be great.
It's hard because, again, like, the job has been done just by one person. Even when there's like tons of cameras keep being added on and the pacing is super fast, like for some reason they only have enough budget for one. And so it's, you know, it's something that we've been trying to introduce, but but usually when there is 2 or there's an assistant script supervisor, For example, there can be one person who's kind of looking out for mostly dialogue, and then the other person looking out for mostly the movement, you know, because those are sometimes two very different things that you have to look. Like, one person is actually looking at the script the whole time and listening, and then the other person can look at the monitor the whole time, because, again, we only have one set of eyeballs. So usually when we're doing this job, it's you constantly are seeing this, right? Like up and down, up and down. So then we're able to split that between two people. And so, it can help us do our job, you know, way better and be much more efficient.
You have a lot of bosses to answer to, and they all want very different things at times. You know, in the moment, I have generally on TV, I have the showrunner that I answer to, the writer, the director, you know, all the producers. Plus, you have the actors. You have to work with the talent. You're not, you know, running over them and saying, okay, you just have to say this line. You can't really do that. You have to find a way to work with them and get them to do what you need. And that's sometimes a process, but it's not bad. But you know, going between all those different guys, and then I have my bosses who aren't on set, who are the editors, post-production, who I have to answer to as well.
One of the most frustrating things is, particularly in this like digital world of filmmaking, is that a lot of people fall too quickly into the mindset of we'll fix it in post. You know, my job is to make sure that you don't have to fix it in post. And I know that we're like trying to save some time now, but if you don't, then you're going to hurt later, you know? And it's just really easy for people to be like, oh, it's not really that important. And it's true, you can edit around some things, but some things you just can't. And that's why you have a script supervisor.
These could be some things to keep in mind for when you're on set, maybe to prepare for, or maybe help guide you to create a smoother set to have a better experience as a script supervisor. And if you're looking for a go-to book for script supervising, definitely check out Beyond Continuity. It is rated #1 on Goodreads and on Amazon. I'm gonna leave that link below for you. It is an Amazon affiliate link at no extra cost to you. Hope this video was valuable to you and you learned something. And if it was, please like, subscribe, or share this video with someone who can learn from it as well. Be sure to check out the other videos in this playlist all about being a script supervisor. The playlist is on the screen for you. Thank you so much for watching. That is it for now, and I shall see you next time.